while we're just waiting, I'm just going to tell you who we've got coming next week. Because we've got a full week and we're going to put it up online, but we are going to revisit Anna Hedworth of Cookhouse Anna on Monday, which is fantastic. We did it with her before. She's the architect turned chef and had her restaurant in a container. We loved that. Then we have the amazing Fiona Beckett, food writer in The Guardian, columnist, author, blogger. She was one of the first people to sort of jump into all the social media, and she really took it by storm. She's a beautiful writer. Then, I'm so excited for this, we've got Fanny Singer, who is has written a beautiful book called Always Home, and it's about her when she was living at home with her incredibly famous mother. Just let me just do this. There we go. Her incredibly famous mother, Alice Walters. So that's going to be a real treat coming from San Francisco. And then we've got Social by Max. Max has been doing supper clubs in West London. And since he's not been able to do his supper clubs, he's now doing his socials, virtual cooking classes, which have been very, very successful, and they're great fun, and people are having a lovely time cooking along with him, learning things. So that's on Thursday. And then we have Atusha Sophia, who I've been recommended, is a cookbook author, photographer, stylist and nutritionist in training, and she's got a massive following as well. So some people you don't know, some people you do know, but they're all real foodies. I'm very excited to meet with Anna because I thought she was wonderful. Her book, The Cookhouse, won awards, her restaurant won awards, and she's a very solid cook, but of very much of this generation of the moment. It's really lovely food. Fiona Beckett's going to be amazing, and she's very good, based in Bristol. Her son, actually, Will Beckett, heads up Hawksmoor. They're his restaurants. But tonight we have the amazing Mira Manek. Hello, Mira.
Hi,
darling. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Lovely to see you, and thanks so much for joining us. Can I just introduce everyone to Mira? So Mira is an author, a health guru, passionate about well-being. She has a Chai by Mira cafe at Try Yoga in Soho. She's written 2 cookery books. She's on fire on Instagram, teaching us how to cook, giving us advice, helping us. She is our guru for beauty and well-being.
Oh, that's so kind. Thank you for the wonderful introduction.
Well, there we are. So I want to ask you, because I've got your beautiful book here, which is a lovely book.
Thank you.
I've been reading it and it's really nice. Ayurvedic Rituals for Happiness. Now, a lot of us don't understand Ayurvedic rituals. Can you demystify it for us?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, the idea of this book, firstly, thank you so much for having me on here. I love what you do, and all your interviews have been really fascinating, whatever I've caught of them. So I'm really honored to be on here. And for anyone who doesn't know, I did my book launch for the second book with you, one of my book launches, where we did a supper club for 50 people in a tent. Where it was just a beautiful night in Chiswick.
Yes, at the Cookbook Festival.
Yes,
yeah, it was brilliant.
That was really lovely. So thank you so much for that. And yeah, in terms of Ayurvedic rituals, now the book really encompasses a whole sort of array of well-being. And yes, it's in and around the lifestyle of Ayurveda, but it's not all specific to Ayurveda, which is what I'm trying to show in the book, which is that actually all these different systems of well-being and medicine from all around the world, Chinese medicine, they all sort of speak the same language. Yeah. And Ayurveda, the main sort of tenets of Ayurveda, what it focuses on is digestion. It's that sort of making sure that the digestive fire is strong, it remains ignited, because everything depends, our health, our well-being, how we feel in body and mind, really, really comes down to digestion. A lot of diseases, most of the diseases that we see today are related to digestion. And obviously,
bowel cancer's on the increase, isn't it?
Yeah, and also gut health has become such a big deal these days, partly, because we've not necessarily ignored it, but because there is so much that we are consuming at different times. And what Ayurveda says, it's not just about what you eat. What you eat is very important, but it's also about when you eat it. It's also about the gaps that you leave between eating. And it's also about the fasting. So actually, what we say these days, what nutritionists say, is sort of echoed. Well, they're echoing a lot of what Ayurveda says and a lot of what Chinese medicine says as well, and I'm sure other systems of well-being as well, which is that we for example, intermittent fasting, obviously that's a new thing. Now that's a new name for something that Ayurveda does speak about, but maybe not in the exact number of hours, like 16 might be too long, but Ayurveda does say that actually for 12 to 14 hours during the night and waking up and then eating 2 hours later is very, very important, because actually you do want to eat. You want to leave that gap, because that's when the digestive fire ignites to become stronger, and you want your stomach and your fire to be strong enough to be able to digest the next meal. Now, chewing is something that, we're all sort of on the go and we're busy, and chewing is something we forget to do. And that's, again, very, very detrimental to our digestion. And that's, again, something that Ayurveda speaks about. So it's actually trying to so what I've done in this book is I've taken these different elements, but also spoken about that whole mind-body connection. And yes, digestion is important, but the book is also about the spirituality, my journey. And I wouldn't say all of it is all about Ayurveda. It's also about me. It's also about how I found Ayurveda and how I've actually combined these different things. And actually, I'm studying integrated health right now, which is basically combining all these different things and showing how you can take the best of everything and what works for you and really apply that to your life.
Yeah, your book's rather beautiful because it takes you from breakfast, lunch and supper. And so it shows you and holds your hand how you can put this into practice in your life. And you don't have to do it all, but just tiny little steps to start with.
Exactly. And I think that's exactly how you have to look at it, because if you try and take lots of different things and you're like, oh wait, Ayurveda says we should tongue scrape and we should do this and oil pulling and oh my God, massaging. Well, if you take too many of these things, you will forget all of it and you will just leave it. If you take one thing and try and make that a practice and a habit that you can then, it's like brushing your teeth or something. Once it becomes a habit within a week or whenever, and you'll start seeing the effects. And all these things together can lead to a much more holistic sense of well-being and feeling better. So there's a lot of different things. And what I kind of say is take something that you think will work for the mind and one thing for the body, and then increase that. So for example, mindfulness, meditation, or maybe not meditation, maybe stretching in the evening while you listen to some beautiful music or a podcast that really takes you to that sort of, other world and lets you and allows you to escape. And then at the same time, maybe doing like a 5-minute face massage in the evening. Now, you might want to focus on that physical element, but it will give you benefits in the body, mind, and soul. And that's what Ayurveda is all about, the connection between these three. If you go for a run, for example, like I've been running a lot since the isolation started, but I never used to run. And actually, running or any of these exercises, they're not purely physical. Going outdoors and inhaling all that oxygen, seeing nature, being aware, being awake to what's going on around you. It's all meditative. So actually, each and every practice that you instill in your life can be considered holistically beneficial to the body, mind, and soul.
Yeah. Are you a big yogi yourself?
My journey back to sort of well-being and finding myself started with yoga. And I speak about it in the book. And so, yes, I do actually practice a lot of yoga. I go in and out, though. I dip in and out of like phases of really wanting to practice lots, and then phases of not doing it for a couple of months. And not doing it. I do my stretches. I do my sort of basic asanas, but I don't necessarily go to a class for a couple of months. So I kind of go in and out of yoga for some reason, but movement and exercises and the breath is very much a part of my day-to-day life. So right now, for example, I'm focusing a lot on running, like I said, stretching, but also doing the breath work. And I do breath work every morning. And that's part of that's part of yoga, but it's slightly different. It's sort of focusing on the Kundalini aspect, which is the sort of feminine energy that we have, and really focusing on the pranayama, which not only helps us in our, like, it's not only a yogic journey, but it is part, and it goes hand in hand with yoga and Ayurveda. And so, like, this morning I did a breathwork class with one of my favorite teachers, Caroline Cowan, who teaches at Tri Yoga, and she's fascinating and brilliant. And so, yeah, I do my practice. It's just, it varies as to what I'm doing in one particular week.
Okay, because you grew up in London. I think you went to St James's in West London.
Yes,
and you learned Sanskrit.
Yes.
And all of that. And you were part of a big family with your grandparents living there. And the table rituals were always happening at home. And the table was always abundant with food. And you were always together. And all these things were very important. And they've sort of grown into your life. But you accidentally, well, your father sent you on an Ayurvedic holiday. He introduced you to it in India when you were 18, was that right?
Yes. Wow, you've read so many parts of it. Thank you.
Well, it's interesting, your background. Everyone's is, I think. And it's how people get into it. So you were obviously these rituals in your family and going with your father. It was just lovely to sort of see them all come together. And then you were on a self-discovery. But then you became a journalist in travel before you actually went into food and Ayurvedic.
Yeah, and I was a columnist in Dubai, and I was traveling a lot, and I think I lost my way in health. I lost my way in sort of my own sense of well-being, because I started following all these fads of having low-fat diets and doing Weight Watchers and doing this and that and the other, because I started putting on weight, and I saw my face was sort of filled with, I had acne, you know, for many, many years, and I was always on a quest to feel better. And so I sort of yo-yo diet, but at the same time, whenever I went to India on my spiritual holiday, whatever you want, escape, my father would say, oh, go to this Ayurvedic resort, or go to this other place, and it would always be part and parcel of my travel. So I'd go to one place, or after my spiritual retreat, I'd then go to an Ayurvedic place. And I thought of Ayurveda as a destination. It's not something I thought, oh, this is a system of well-being that we have our cooking has originated from, or the way we do things has originated from. I just thought of it as a place you go to in India to detox and feel better. So I started
a boot camp.
Yeah, an Ayurvedic boot camp, or like, yeah, exactly, a retreat where I'd feel better. But actually, sometimes I'd come out of there with more spots, and they'd say, oh no, but it's going to get worse before it gets better. The thing is, it's going to come out of your system when it's going to come out of your system. And I think sometimes, no matter what you do, yes, it helps, but it's not going to eradicate anything. And so, you know, over the years, I'd feel better and then feel worse and feel better. And I was always on a quest for doing more and feeling better. And over time, I realized, and it took me ages to realize what I was doing wrong. And I'm not saying that I'm at the end of that journey. I still struggle with my craving. I still struggle with my my weight fluctuation. And I do.
Really?
I am sensitive. Yes, I am very sensitive to what I eat. Like very, very sensitive. Which is why I really need to be careful, because, well, I feel better when I'm careful. And I'm very sensitive from the point of view that if I have something today, say I have 2-3 slices of bread in the afternoon, by the evening, I'll feel a lot worse. And I'm not allergic to anything, which is also very baffling for me. So I'm just very sensitive to everything I eat. And so it's a constant journey for me to feel that sense of well-being, you know, on a day-to-day basis. And so actually, yeah.
You understand your body really quite well. And that's why you wrote your first book, Saffron and, what was it called? Saffron
and Soul, yes.
Yeah, Saffron Soul, and that's all completely recipes, isn't it? Yeah,
the full book is recipes, and it's all, every single recipe is photographed, which is also really lovely. I love that book, and it's very much, it's quite an ode to the food that I grew up eating in my family, the Gujarati home cooked food. And not many people are focused on the Gujarati food because it seems, I think outwardly it seems more basic than more.
Which area of India does that come from?
It's just very near Bombay, actually. It's west. Okay. And it's very, very close to Bombay, but it's very, the food is quite different. It's quite simple, but at the same time, the flavors are subtly delicious, and there's a real marriage of that sort of lime and sweetness coming together to form, like the dal, for example, is very different to like the heavier dals in Punjab and the sort of other rich mung dal, the black kali dal that you get. We have a very liquidy dal, which which has got lots of lime and lots of jaggery. So we have a lot of jaggery in a lot of our dishes. So it's got sweetness, natural sweetness. And not many people focus on Gujarati food. And funnily enough, there aren't that many Gujarati restaurants either. But actually what I wanted to do in this book is deliver home-cooked, easy Indian food. Something that you don't have to think, oh my God, I really want to cook that, but I need to go and buy 10 ingredients. Or that's going to take me ages, so I need to really do that when I have time. It's one of those quick and easy, once you make it once, you'll realize how easy it is, and then it'll become your staple. And actually that's the feedback that I got from that book, which I'm really happy with. So
that's fantastic. I'll tell you, one of your recipes I love, you use mung beans a lot. I cook an awful lot with mung beans. Well, you actually say mung beans. And
yeah. Mung. Well, yeah, it's mung. It's some people spell it M-O-O-N-G and some people spell it M-U-N-G, but it's really good for you. It's very wholesome. And funnily enough, it is it's easier to digest that bean than many other dals and beans and many other lentils and beans. And it doesn't cause as much flatulence as other lentils as well. Which is
okay, I've got to ask you about that. What is ping or asapachi?
Asafoetida, yeah.
Thank you.
That's really, really useful. That's a really useful ingredient, not only because it mimics the ginger and garlic and onion. So if someone doesn't have garlic and any onion, it sort of gives you that pungent flavor. But it's more important because when you cook lentils, mung, beans, anything like that, which causes or can cause more flatulence than your average curry, putting the asafoetida in counteracts that flatulence. So it helps you digest it better.
I've never come across that. I just learned something.
It's really strong. So if you open that, it's very small because you don't need much. And when you open it, you'll literally be like, oh my God, someone actually described it as the smell of flatulence. So you can imagine how it smells.
Okay, enough said.
It's really useful and it tastes really good. And you've got to know when to put it in because it just goes in after your tarka is done. So the initial tarka, which is the mustard seeds, cumin seeds, onion, garlic, whatever you're using. Once that is cooked, you then put a little bit of asafoetida and then you put in your lentils, vegetables. And you can put it in every curry, but Indians tend to basically use it more when they're cooking with beans and lentils because Ayurvedically speaking, it helps heal that sort of, or
your gut, your movement.
Yeah, cause less issues, exactly.
And where'd you get it from?
I think you can find it online on Amazon. I have to check, but you can get it at all Indian shops. And I'm not sure if like your average supermarket sells it, but I think you'd be able to find it on Amazon. I'm guessing.
Okay. And you love your spices, don't you? Your spices are your food of life.
They are. I literally drink my spices as well. So I literally every morning I boil a large pan of water with like some cumin seeds, some carom seeds, which are ajwain, and sometimes fennel. And you can mix it up. You can do one of them. You can add something else like coriander seeds. You can mix it up. And once you boil that, you don't need that many. Once you boil it, let it cool down, fill it up in your bottle, and sip it warm, cold, hot, all day long. It's just really, really, it adds flavor, but it also just helps with the digestion. And like I said, I told you, my digestion has been like the sort of bane of my life. And that's how my whole journey started. So actually to enhance that, I do lots of different things. So
okay, lots of people are saying Waitrose sells it, Schwartz sell it.
Amazing. I didn't even know that. Brilliant. Thank you, everyone. And someone said it smells better than tastes better than it smells, which is very, very true.
Yeah, no, so that's good. I love your saffron compote with yogurt, cinnamon and granola. That looked divine, I have to say. Talk us through that one, will you?
Yeah, so that's the saffron soul one, the front one from Saffron Soul Breakfast. So.
It was on your Instagram.
Oh, it's in Instagram. Yes, that's from Saffron Soul. So it's a really delicious pot. The compote itself is so easy to make, and then you can pour it on top of anything into yogurt or whatever. And actually, that dish, funnily enough, is the one that is served still at, is it served still? Yeah, it's still served at the Hogan Dining Rooms in Rosewood Hotel in London. So I started collaborating with the Hogan Dining Rooms around 5 years ago. And initially it was a chia pudding with cardamom and cinnamon that they put on the menu my book wasn't even out then. And then once my book came out, once Saffron Soul came out, I told them, let's change it over to the saffron compote with cinnamon granola. And initially I delivered it to them, and it was a hassle, but it was fun. And then at some point they started making it themselves. So it's still on the menu with my name. So it's really, that's one of my like favorite things to talk about, because it's such a lovely combination of spices, and it's served in London, so people can go and try it when things open up again.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and so how do you make the saffron compote? Is it just chosen fruit and then you put some saffron in?
No, it's basically water. No, so it's basically lots of lemon juice, so freshly squeezed lime or lemon juice, you can use either, warmed up, heated up with saffron, a tiny bit of saffron, not much, and a bit of corn flour. So you have to mix the lime with a bit of corn flour so that the corn flour doesn't become lumpy, because often we found that it can become lumpy. So you just mix up the bit of lemon or lime with the corn flour, put it into the mix of lime that you're heating up, put a tiny bit of saffron, and then once you've heated it up, stir in some honey. I mean, obviously it's a large quantity of honey because I make a big amount. But yeah, lemon or lime, honey, saffron, and corn flour, and that's it.
And you just then layer that up with yogurt and cinnamon dusted granola.
Yeah, I mean, I wish I brought my book, and my book is over in the other room, but I wish I brought it so I can show you the picture. But it's such a beautiful picture. It just, even the tiniest bit of saffron in that changes the color, and it becomes really like a sunset orangey yellow hue. And then when you put the yogurt on there, the white yogurt, it just looks so gorgeous. And then you put the cinnamon granola. So you only need like a tablespoon or less in a jar, and then put in lots of yogurt, like maybe 4 tablespoons of yogurt, and then put your granola on top. It's honestly divine.
You see, I'm not a breakfast eater, and I thought I could eat that for breakfast.
Yeah, it's definitely decadent because it's got that granola, but it's delicious. And it's one of those like nice things to treat yourself with. And it also tastes quite dessert-like. So if you want that in the middle of a day or like in the evening, I think it's just a nice little treat to give yourself. Like a dessert, but it's healthier than a dessert.
Yeah, okay, it's more a dessert than brekkie. And also, I want to ask you about your chai, because you are famous for your chais. Now, I have a problem. I never, ever drink tea. I've never drunk tea all my life. I would love to drink tea, but
what do you not like about tea?
It tastes metallic.
Yeah, I understand that. So look, chai does have tea, but chai can very easily be made without tea. So it can be made with just the spices, and that's how we serve it in my cafe and at all the cafes that I supply it to. It's literally 7 spices with coconut sugar mixed in there. And so it's basically a masala milk. So if you want to add the caffeine, you can, but you don't have to. So after this phone call, I'm going to ask you for your address. I'm going to send you a pack of chai.
Oh, no, I didn't mean it for that.
No, but you must try it, because it will convert you over to liking chai. Because see, chai, the sort of way of making chai, what makes a chai is you boil it in a pan with tea leaves and with spices. So you grate ginger, you put cardamom, you can add a bit of black pepper, cinnamon, nutmeg, cloves. So you don't need all of them. You can actually just do it with ginger or just with cardamom and ginger. It's whatever you have, whatever you prefer. And then you boil it, and you let that, and you add sugar or whatever, but you basically boil it for a while, and you then strain that. Now, obviously, when you're in a cafe and when you have chai latte, you can't be sitting there boiling. I mean, you can, in India they do, but actually, how do you mimic that? So I do that by basically creating a masala mix, which a lot of Indians do, but adding the sugar into that. So then you're not thinking, okay, I need to add this, and then I need to add this. So it's literally all mixed up together. It's quite potent. And it's got a lot of cardamom, a lot of ginger, and those are the main spices. Then it's got all the other, it's got 7 spices, including white pepper, which actually makes it a lot stronger. And then you put that into your milk, and you can add rose to it, turmeric to it, cocoa to it. So often we make a cocoa chai in my cafe, or a rose chai, or a matcha chai, or even putting a shot of coffee in there. So you don't need the tea, and you really will find that actually, if you don't like tea, you don't have to add it at all. And it's absolutely delicious.
Okay, I love all those spices. I have no problem. I absolutely love your Indian hack, which is getting all your ginger and garlic and chilies and blitzing them and then putting them in your freezer. Tell that to people, because I think that's a really good one to make people.
Yeah, absolutely. I think every Indian who saw that on my Instagram out there would have been like, well, my mom does that. But actually, anyone who's not Indian will not be doing that. They'll be like, oh my God, this is amazing. And actually, that's how I discovered it. Because there's so many things that I went into my mom's kitchen and I was like, oh my God, I didn't know you did this. I didn't know you did this. This is amazing. So that's one thing my mom's been doing for years and years. And basically, taking lots of ginger, lots of garlic, lots of chili, maybe a bit less than the chili. And then if you have some coriander, you can put coriander in there. And you basically just grate it all, cut it all, put it in a little grinder and grind everything together until it becomes this like wholesome sort of green paste, because obviously if you've got chili and coriander, they're green. Sometimes we add a little bit of turmeric root with the ginger, so obviously then the color is yellow and green, and it's quite lovely. So it's just using whatever you have of those 5 things and keeping it in lots of little containers or boxes, whatever you have, and then putting all of them in the freezer apart from one which you leave in the fridge. And then once that's finished, you take the next one out. And you'll find that you just find cooking a lot more enjoyable, because it takes the sort of grating and chopping labor out of that sort of basic initial thing that makes it delicious. And it doesn't need to only be used for curries and dal. Of course, it's very important for curries and dal. But in case you're making, you know, a pasta sauce or like doing a stir fry, you want to put some ginger, garlic, and chili in it. And so it just makes life a lot easier. The only thing then left to do is the onions, which, you know, you don't always need, but if you want, you can just chop up some onions and put it in there.
Yeah, it's your sort of Sunday morning batch cooking and sort of then doing that, and you've got that for the rest of the month, because in the freezer it lasts forever.
It literally lasts the whole month. I mean, we go through a lot, especially right now in lockdown. And I think we made about 7 small containers or 8 small containers, and it took about a month to use them. Now, if we go through a lot and that's 8, then, you know, you might do a bit less, and you'll still last you, because you only need a teaspoon each time you cook. So
yeah,
lovely.
no, I love that. I love that. And just tell me, you were in Parliament on International Women's Day.
Yes, that was really amazing. So there was a lot of people speaking, and I actually attended it last year to hear all the women speaking. So it was really, I was honoured to be invited to speak there after this book came out. And I remember last year, you know, they asked me about the food element, and I said, look, I don't think I'm the right person for this, even though I do cook. But I think you should have someone who, because it's Women's Day, you should have someone like Asma Khan. So actually, Asma Khan's book, I actually put her forward for it. And then this year, there was obviously, they were like, look, you've written a book that's not about food, it's more about well-being and rituals, and why didn't you speak about that? And it was daunting. But actually, I just thought, let me focus on my journey and how, as women, we are empowered by the things that we do, and it's never too late. So whenever you start these rituals, and rituals can be a way to bring you back to life, but essentially, as a woman, you want to find that thing that makes you, that gives you your power. Yeah. And so I spoke about that, and it was in House of Lords, and it was pretty amazing, actually, a really powerful day. There was, I can't remember how many speakers, but it was really wonderful, and one of my friends was helping to organise that whole thing, and I was really honoured to be asked to speak. So.
No, that's amazing. We're very privileged to have you. And just talking about Asma Khan of Darjeeling Express, she is actually a friend of yours, isn't she?
Yes,
and you sometimes
yes,
go and give her little massages.
You've seen it all, yes. I haven't seen her in so long, yes. Well, she literally, so before I opened my cafe, because we are on the same floor in Kingley Court, so I literally see her. When I'm leaving to go home, I'll look through the window into the bustling Darjeeling Express.
Have a wave.
Yes, and I'll go wave, or I'll go and give her a hug, and often when we're in the lift, or like I go in the afternoon, she's just sitting there, I'll give her a quick massage, because she's just always working so hard. Yeah. She's amazing. I mean, before I launched my cafe, I walked into Darjeeling after one of my yoga classes. I was on my crutches, and I walked in and I said, oh, I've heard of you. Like, I don't know much about you, but I thought I'd say hello. I'm on my crutches. And she goes, oh, come and have a chai with me. So that's how our relationship began. And then I went again. And then I was like, oh, Asma, I'm doing a yoga brunch to promote one of my retreats. And she was like, oh, why don't you do it here? And it was a Sunday. And she always gives her restaurant to different people to like do their own supper clubs on Sundays. So she gave it to me for 2 Sundays, and it was just so nice of her. She gave me the keys. She was like, look, just do whatever you want to do, clean it up afterwards, and give me the key the next day. Or give, yeah.
That's
So anyway, that was
amazing.
way before. She's just incredible. She's all about supporting women. And I think when you meet someone like that, you just feel inspired to always support people who you feel need to be supported. Like, it's just amazing to find women like that. And she's all about that. And so I met her, and then a year later I launched my cafe, and it was just, just happened by chance that she's my neighbor. And she's always just, she's popping in, she pops in at Diwali to give me sweets, or once she was having an interview with a journalist and her restaurant was really busy. So she popped into mine, she was like, Mira, can I have a quiet spot? I really need to do an interview. So it's just nice having her there. She's wonderful.
That's lovely. So you can support each other and you have a similar kindred spirit.
Yeah, I feel that. I do feel there's some connection there,
Yeah. You mentioned twice there you were on your crutches. Did you break your leg or something?
Yeah, so I think I've actually broken my foot twice. So 7 or 8 years ago, I broke my ankle. And then when I met Asma, that was when I'd broken my metatarsal on my right foot while I was, so it's just the sort of, the bone under your sort of your toe, under my little toe. Anyway, it was very random, and it was in Hawaii, bizarrely enough, during a wedding. It wasn't anything crazy. It was really weird, and I was on crutches for like 6-7 weeks, which was really annoying, Christmas time, and I had to cut my trip short and everything. But anyway, I loved tri yoga, and that's how my relationship with tri yoga began, because I used to go there for classes and then popped my head into Darjeeling when I didn't even know what it was. So it was.
How long ago did you open your cafe?
It was October or September, October, I think, the year before. So we're into 2020. I think it was 2018.
Yeah. Okay. So a couple of years, and you're enjoying it. You're loving it.
I am loving it. I think Kingley Court, firstly, is such a lovely place to be. And secondly, Tri Yoga is a great collaboration for me because of my sort of, my whole thing is, yes, it's food, but it sort of stems from yoga and all about well-being. So actually, it's the perfect place in that sense. And yeah, I am enjoying it. I'm kind of experimenting with it, and chai is just, I've kind of figured out my formula after so many months of running it. And it's been a challenge, but it's been a kind of not so tricky challenge. It's been, I kind of eased myself into it. It was nice to have that surrounding of restaurants where I'm not trying to pull in too many customers. It was sort of just started on its own, and Tri Yoga have their own flow of people, which I basically rely on. So
they're very popular. They're a great centre.
Yeah, they are. And they have teacher trainings, and it's just nice to see the same faces and have a community. And that's what I wanted to bring about.
And how did you get into consulting for hotels like the Rosewood?
It's, to be honest, very random. Not entirely glamorous.
I love your honesty.
It is very, honestly, I walked in one day into Rosewood because I was in Holborn just after I moved back to London, I think, like 6 years ago. I was in Dubai before that. Anyway, I walked into the Rosewood because I was like, well, I've heard of this hotel, and they directed me to the Holborn dining rooms, which is where they serve breakfast. So I walked in there, and there was no one in there. It was like a bizarre hour, like 11 a.m. And I had these little balls on me, the energy balls. I first started selling my energy balls, and I started selling them at Raw Press literally that same week. So I just had them on me for some reason. I think I was on my way to Raw Press or something. And I thought, let me have breakfast here. So while I was having breakfast, the manager came over and met me. Her name was Caroline. And she was like, oh, hi, how are you? There was literally no one else in the restaurant. And I told her that I started selling these energy balls, and I noticed that they have a deli there. Obviously, I thought she'd say no, but she was like, oh, these look interesting. We have a deli. Why don't we sell them there? I was like, sure. They didn't ask me for anything. I hadn't really launched any business or anything. Like, they were just like, let's just sell them. So the next day or the day after or something, I brought over lots of energy balls with cinnamon and cardamom, or cinnamon and, what was the main spice in there? Anyway, cinnamon and ginger. And they started selling them, and then that moved on to the chia pudding. That moved on to my fudge pieces. And the next thing I know, the chef from Home and Dining Room calls me and said, I've tried your chia pudding in the deli. Why don't we put it on the restaurant menu? And that's how it all began. And then I started consulting, or I created a menu for a couple of restaurants in India. And then, so it's always been like wellness related, like healthier dishes. And yeah, that's basically how it began.
And
do you still do that? Yes, on and off.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that a couple of restaurants in India, one in Mumbai, and then I did one last year for a restaurant in Canary Wharf. Um, just a wellness January, February menu. For Veganuary, I did a menu. So yeah, I do it on and off. Like they were selling my book there, they did the menu.
Yeah.
I went and tried all the recipes. We kind of worked with the chef to create them. So I've done it for for a handful of restaurants so far. It's not something that I go out and it sort of just happened organically, I have to say.
Yeah, well, that's rather nice. And it goes to show to other people who are listening, don't ever feel scared of just saying, would you like something? Can I
I
help
know,
you?
and it literally is such a shocking surprise. You're like, but I don't really. And then some people ask me at the beginning, do you have your certificate sorted? And I was like, I actually don't. And then I just started selling. Obviously, then over time it happened, but no one asked me at the beginning. I just did it. You know, I didn't know anything about the food industry, so it was interesting.
You learnt on the hoof. And are you a vegetarian?
I am, yes. I've always been a vegetarian, yeah.
You've always been a vegetarian all your life?
Yes, I was born into a family of vegetarian eaters. And actually, so you know St. James, or is that something you just. Okay, so St. James is vegetarian as well, the school that I went to. And
Yes.
actually, the reason, even though I studied Sanskrit there and it has that sort of Indian philosophy background as well, one of the primary reasons that my parents sent me there is because back in the day, many, many years ago, my mother was very intent on us, like, not going to a school which was like she was trying to look for a vegetarian school, and she must have come across this school, and that's how we started going to this school, which was really far from where we lived. So we'd go by train, someone would drop us. It was like, yeah, from Wembley to South Kensington at the time.
Gosh, that's quite a long journey, isn't it, as 11-year-olds or whatever you were? Because were you there at junior
Well,
school?
no, 4-year-olds.
Oh, you went
4-year-olds.
there to the prep school. You went all the way through.
Yes, up till 16. At 16, I changed school to a very well-known school, renowned school, and was there for 2 years. But yeah, 4 to 16 was St. James.
Amazing, amazing. Because yes, it is well known for being an alternative school, but very happy children come out of there. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I think at the time it was a lot more stricter, and they loosened up over time, which is I think is very, very good. But essentially their philosophy and the warmth and the fact that they create a real homely environment, nurturing environment, really, I love it. And I would certainly think of sending my children there one day.
Oh, that's lovely. How many children have you got?
No, I said one day I might.
Oh, one day.
It
Okay. Okay. Because all your food is vegetarian, so if it's not beans, it's Buddha bowls. You do these lovely salads with about 11 different ingredients in them, and those aren't spices. Those are all the chopped vegetables and the nuts and everything. So you've been having great fun in this hot weather, haven't you? Making nice cooling
Yeah, well,
things.
yes. I love creating dishes which have lots of texture, flavor, and I think with vegetables, there's so much you can do. You know, with the herbs and the dressings, and there's a lot that once you figure out. And I've also been teaching, actually, talking about the lockdown. I've been teaching kids classes on Zoom, and I've got my next one tomorrow, actually, which I've been really enjoying.
Oh, brilliant! What, and they're doing a cook along with you?
Yeah, so like various mothers with their children, mainly over the age of 8. So it started off with just me wanting to teach my nephews because they take a interest in cooking, and because, you know, it's just one thing to do with them. And then it became bigger and bigger, and now I don't know how big the group is, but it's quite a lot of people. So I just pick a different dish every weekend, and it's always within 30 minutes, so they have to have done all their prep. And it's just really fun. So it's also a way for me to be creative and think of new things that are sort of easy to make but also very tasty, and that the family can have, and kids can actually take a new interest in cooking. So I'm really enjoying that. So yeah, it's all about throwing different things together, using spices, being sort of creative with the cumin and the paprika and the turmeric, and making everything more flavorful and palatable and fun.
Yes, and I think every household, British household, should have one of your spice dishes. I don't know what they're called.
Oh, the boxes, the
Yes,
masala
with the little tins inside, because it makes it much more accessible to just open the whole lot and have them all there with the lovely metal teaspoon.
Oh, it makes life so much easier. I totally agree. So we sell them in my cafe, but actually there's a company that I know very well. I've actually been featured on their site called Spice Kitchen UK, And
Okay.
on it, they sell exactly that, the masala doughs, and they wrap it up really nicely with like sari, and they've become really innovative with the way they sort of deliver their spice boxes. So I would really recommend them. Spice Kitchen at Spice Kitchen UK if anyone's looking for it. And honestly, you're totally right. It makes life so much easier. You have everything in little containers, and then you're not like, you know, when you're, the thing about cooking with spices is that by the time you open another jar, you might burn the previous spice, or like you might spill something. And actually opening this thing up, and you're like, oh, I'll put bit this in, you know. And
You
you
feel
can
like a
be
professional as well, because you've got them all there, you're holding them really close, and you think, gosh, I'm getting good at this.
Yeah, exactly. Someone's saying there's lots online. Yes, I haven't actually looked. I'm sure there's loads online. So thank you, Benita.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic. And can I ask you your favourite food-related film, book, TV show, chef?
Yes, sure. Actually, no one's asked me about film, but actually, I think my favorite would probably be, and the one that comes to mind right now is, I think it was called Lunchbox. It was a Mumbai-based film, and Irfan Khan, who passed away sadly about a month ago, an amazing actor, amazing actor. He was in it, and that was a phenomenal film, really beautiful, and really sort of shows you Mumbai, shows you the sort of, goes into the lunchbox, the what do you call it? The tiffin deliveries, exactly. So fascinating, honestly, so fascinating. And I think that probably was my favorite. And as a child, not a child, but my inner child being satisfied, I think Ratatouille, I loved that movie.
Oh, that's lovely. I love that as well. And do you have a favourite kitchen tool that everyone should have to just ease themselves into your style of cooking, apart from the spice box that we mentioned?
Kitchen tool. Oh my God, oh my God. What is my favorite kitchen tool? Oh God, that's a hard one.
I'm just going to ask you before you answer that, to give you some time. So I've got an Indian friend, and they have, you know, for when you mix your ginger, you grind your ginger and all the rest of it, they have a little electric, very powerful, and they said every Indian kitchen has them, and they're half the price of the very expensive ones here in this country.
I
Do
know
you?
exactly what you're talking about, and I can probably pull it out of my drawer. But the problem is, I don't know exactly what it's called because my mother bought it. So I actually don't know. I know exactly it's a grinder, and it's like it slots into the top, slots into the bottom, and you just press on it, and it like whizzes everything up very quickly. And
Yes, it's
small as well.
electrical. And Simone said every house has one of these. It's just
Yes.
normal, Fran.
I will try and find the name after this. I just don't remember. But there's a lot out now, and I feel like I'm still stuck in that day and age where, like, whatever my mum uses, I end up using that.
If it still works, why
So I
change
think
it?
my favourite would probably be the Vitamix, because I think when you're blending nuts and you're doing smoothies and you can do so much in that, you know, your vegetables, and
I love the Vitamix.
I know. And a lot of people use Nutribullet, and I think that's great too, but I've not actually got used to it before. And I love my Vitamix. Also for my cafe, I make like vegan cheesecakes. And to make a vegan cheesecake, you need to blend a lot of nuts. And so the Vitamix is so useful for that.
Yeah, no, that's a really good one. It's got the most powerful engine, the most rotations. It just blitzes nuts to cream very, very quickly.
Oh my God, I love it.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Listen, it's been absolutely fantastic chatting with you. Someone just asked the name of your book again. If you can just tell them the name.
Yeah, it's Prajna, Prajna, which is a Sanskrit word for ultimate wisdom. And it's on Amazon and most bookshops. But yeah, you can find it on Amazon. So yeah.
That's brilliant. I'm so happy you joined us, and thanks for sharing your wisdom with us. And all.
Thank you. It was so wonderful chatting to you, and have a lovely, beautiful, hopefully sunny weekend.
Yes, I hope so. And you have a lovely weekend as well, and all good stretches and wishes to you.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Lots of love. Thank
Bye.
you. Bye.